We've got this hard drive.
Got this hard drive. It's got no secret information, classified information.
Watch us hack the time.
So, yeah, hacker time. All right, you give me a thumbs up when we're good to go.
All right, we're recording for 2 minutes now.
You missed my PSA.
But you missed the PSA.
You missed
I
my
got Elon.
PSA.
I know.
Look at me,
We were all
Rob.
setting
Look at me.
levels. Yeah. You go again. Do it. Go again. What we got on this thing?
All right. Hey, so we are back with Figuring It Out. Brought to you-
Episode 3.
Episode 3. We're 3 times as far as I ever thought we'd make it.
Look at us.
Presented by CPC students and Crosspoint Church. And listen, before we get into anything else, we have puppies in the studio. Where's she at? Get her up. Let's get the puppy up here. All right, listen. This is a monumental day.
If you're audio only, don't be. This
You gotta
this
turn
is why
this
you
on.
need to
Listen,
don't be.
this is why YouTube is important.
Yes.
All right.
Oh
We
my
have
goodness.
puppies on the pod. Puppies on the podcast.
Yes.
This is Sadie, right? Tell us about Sadie
This
for a
is
second.
Sadie. She's our new puppy. She's a 15-week German Shepherd Labrador Retriever mix, and she's so super sweet. She's lived with my family. Friday will be a week. She's brand new to us, and she had to come on the podcast today because this is what's entertained me this week.
This has been your week, all right? So, so if you're new to the podcast or if you're just tuning in to episode 3 for the first time or maybe you just skipped around to the other 2, what we do is Linda and I will bring a slice of life. You know, what has entertained us, what's impressed us, what's given us some provoking thoughts over the week. And we bring those, and then we'll dive into a little bit of a deeper issue in just a little bit. But I want to hear all about Sadie, and I'm so happy to have puppies on the podcast.
I'm so excited. She is so sweet. So, she's our 3rd dog. We might be crazy, but here we are. We have...
A little bit.
You know what? We're just off the deep end. But we have an 11-year-old and then 14-month-old puppy. And then we're like, let's get another one. But she is so sweet. She came to us housebroken and
Nice.
all that good stuff. But she's so chill, and I was carrying her around in my bog bag. I had dogs and bogs this morning.
Dogs and bogs.
But
Man,
she's
that could be a commercial in and of itself.
If Bog is watching,
Look, so we're trying to get sponsors for this podcast right now.
If Bog is watching, look, you want to say something? But she's so chill. I just brought her a little blanket and a couple of toys, and once I had to wake her up to pick her up here to get up. But
we might do an Instagram. All right, we might be like a show, like a puppy dump, right? Show
We
us your
should.
puppies on Instagram.
Let's
and
do that.
Do one of those new where you tag a photo and you post a photo thing.
Yep.
We'll
Show
do
us
that.
your dogs.
All about our dogs, because we've got 2. We've got 2 golden retrievers. One just turned a year old because we got him for his Hank, and we got Hank for our boys for Christmas. Santa brought Hank a little early, and when the boys walked into it was a whole weird way we had to hide him because he's a live puppy. You can't just close him up in a box till Christmas. So had a big box, and I brought him in, and the boys, Kinsley had the boys out doing things, and then they came in. And it was like we all discovered this box with a puppy in it. And it was just, and Camden's first words were, "It's a real puppy." And it's, Hank's been in our lives for a year now, and Sam is our 8-year-old golden retriever. We're gonna do a photo dump on Instagram, I think, of all of our puppies, and you can do your 3. And then, hey, listen, out there in the listening world, you give us your puppy love. Show us your puppies.
Show us the puppies, and maybe she'll come back. I was trying hard for a puppy cam.
Puppy cam definitely needs to
we're
happen.
going to work on a
but-
puppy cam for you today, but we've got the big cam, and here she is, everybody.
is.
Sadie in all of her glory.
Sweet.
So, any amazing dog stories from your house? Have your dogs done anything amazing, or are they just sort of normal, run-of-the-mill dogs?
They're just kind of running the bill. Now, Jeter is our middle dog. He's a runner.
Yeah.
He's a track star. And I had to go chase him this week, which I hate doing because he's really fast and he thinks it's a game. So here we have a creek that runs behind our neighborhood. So I get him cornered at the creek, and you can see him kind of squat down, I'm gonna have to go in this creek and get this dog. And unfortunately, he did not, and that's kind of a lame story. But just a little picture into life here.
Yeah, we've got so golden retrievers they're known swimmers, and ours, anytime we're anywhere around water at all, that's where they're going. And it could be 20 degrees outside, that's where they're going.
My golden hated swimming.
Really?
We had a golden, and she died last year. She was 12, but she was the most precious dog, but hated water.
Oh, man.
Like, would not. Okay.
Ours are fish, basically. So, I love dog stories. I'm not a cat person. Caleb, you a cat person?
Absolutely not. No, definitely not. Cats are the worst thing ever.
Yeah. So, do you guys do cats and dogs?
I do have a cat.
You do have it. Yes, right.
Yeah.
You do have a cat.
We had at one point, we say we're a 4-pet family. So at one point we had
6 if you include the boys.
yes, because boys are their own animals.
Yes, that's a different animal.
So at one point we had 2 cats and 2 dogs, and then I had my cat died, and then we got another. So they just filter in and out. But I got a kitten when I was in college, and she liked no one except for me. Like she
As
would
cats do.
Yeah, she would like sleep here on my face, all this, but if Eric, my husband, tried to get near her, she was take off. But she would sit in the corner of the room. Like, she didn't want to be acknowledged, but she wanted to see what was happening. She would just sit there.
Yeah, most cats want to keep a distance, and and then when they want something, they're nice until they get what they want, and then they're no longer nice.
Look, they are users. Is what they are. They use and abuse, and
we had a cat, and I use cats. So whenever I teach on the fruit of the spirit, whenever I'm preaching fruit of the spirit, I use a cat reference for when we talk through joy, and really basically
how they steal it.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
A little bit of that, but all right. So I draw a dichotomy between joy and happiness, right? And how happy a cat can make you once you're petting it, right? And so this is all talking about happiness is from an external thing. So it's an outside source, and it affects your feelings. That's what happiness is to me. And so you're petting a cat, you're all happy, it's purring, you're all like, this is stirring up those emotional feelings of happiness. And talking about cats is making Sadie
I know
very
she's very upset about this topic.
But then what happens when you pet a cat one too many times?
Yeah.
Like they latch on and they eat your hand alive. Then the happiness that you were feeling turns to rage and anger and upset. And so that outside source can cause that same source can cause feelings of happiness or feelings of rage and anger and malice and all these other things. Joy, on the other hand, is an inward source that can only come from the Holy Spirit. It's a fruit of the Spirit. So anyway, that was a good one.
All right.
And so
So she's ready for her nap.
she's ready for a nap. All right, we're gonna let Sadie hop down back to her bog bag, and anyway, we'll bring her back later for a goodbye. But I love dogs because they're just. I mean, dogs are. They are what they are, man. They're such a pure animal that just wants to
wander over to Caleb and get some pets.
And wander over to Caleb. So let me ask you this though, because we love dogs, we're all dog people.
Y'all are gonna watch her just walk around until she settles
It's
down.
gonna be like, well, got your little doggy bags ready.
I know. Yes. We're not gonna mess up the carpet today.
Let me ask this question. All right, Linda, tell us more about your love for dogs. Like, when was your first dog? We always remember our first pets.
My first pets. So I was 4, and we got Missy and Lady, who were sister black labs. And they were the sweetest dogs, and they lived to be like 14 or 15. Like,
that's a good old age.
Yes, and they were so sweet and just good dogs, and just I love them.
Question: do all dogs go to heaven?
So no, listen. My husband and I were talking about this after the alien conversation last week.
Oh yeah,
because we were talking about how we kind of think alien life and animals are kind of the same.
That was my point. That was my point from last week.
Kind of non-spiritual beings.
Or different anyway.
Yes, and so, but I do think there are dogs in heaven. And for the cat people, there are probably some cats in.
I think, well, and you know that if everything's going to be renewed back to the way it was in Eden, I mean, Eden was covered in animals.
Yes.
You know, so whatever kind of animals.
And if it's something that, because heaven's this wonderful place.
Yeah.
So there got to be dogs if it's wonderful.
Where they won't fight though. Like
No,
you're
they
not gonna
won't
have
fight.
cats that like latch onto your arm with the like a machete.
Praise God.
Praise God. And so there will be no more bad dogs. Like there are no bad dogs, just bad owners, right? That's the old saying. So I don't know about that. Lots of stories,
Yeah.
of stories. But all right, let's move to my slice.
Your
Or
slice.
you got more puppy information.
I
for
think,
us?
look, anything could happen, but let's talk about your slice.
All right, my slice. Here's what I'm bringing. Time magazine, per every year, named their person of the year for 2021. All right, Caleb, do you know who it is? Well, you know because I told you.
Yeah.
Did you know before I told you?
I did. Yes, I did actually.
All right, Time magazine's person of the year, Elon Musk.
No surprise.
No, well, I mean, a little bit of a surprise. So he's a little bit eccentric, a little bit crazy, but he's also a genius. Which I guess there's this line of genius and insanity that a lot of geniuses walk. I don't know, but he is the richest man in the world. Recently, he's been selling off a lot of his properties and a lot of things that he owns in order to. I don't know exactly why he's doing all of it, but he's infusing cash into SpaceX and the Boring Company and all of these little organizations and businesses that he owns that are all doing things. So I wanted to talk about Elon Musk. Why is he the person of the year? Do you have any idea?
Well, he launched a manned space mission.
A manned space mission. Yeah. Well, he's the first non-government agency to dock people on the International Space Station. Civilians.
That's kind of a big deal.
That's a big deal. Now, what's the guy's name that owns Amazon Prime?
Jeff Bezos.
Just
Bezos.
Prime.
Jesus Christ.
He just owns
None of the
Prime.
video, none of the
Prime
no
just
music.
comes out because that
Yeah.
word is mentioned. So, like, is it
He'll be,
Prime?
he's
Is it
very
Prime?
proud of that, probably.
Yeah.
He's like, we've done it.
Yes.
Like, he didn't quite do what Elon Musk and SpaceX has done. Like, he flew to the outer edge of our atmosphere, broke it for like a second, and then came
And
back
came
down.
back.
And so it's like you just did a really big roller coaster ride. That's all you really did. But Elon Musk is like, he is setting a new standard for what civilian life can do. And honestly, we're looking at, and I know, okay, so if I'm not going to be the sports guy, am I going to be the space guy? Is that what I'm going to turn into?
Look,
I just realized, like, this is my second consecutive slice that involves space in some way.
You've done
on a
more
thing.
space than sports.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I was actively trying not to pigeonhole myself. All right, here we go. But here's my personal take on Elon Musk, okay? SpaceX and the Boring Company. I don't know if the Boring Company doesn't get quite as much propaganda, I guess, as SpaceX does, but they're doing more than any other business out there to push us further than anything else has been possible. The Boring Company's working on things like a supersonic train, right? So that you can get from the East Coast to the West Coast in like just a couple of hours. And also hypersonic jets, things like that. That's Boring Company. And then he's got SpaceX, which is outside our atmosphere. He is single-handedly, like, listen to me, like, Elon Musk is single-handedly transforming the alternative fuel game. He's having to create technology. He's having to like invent new technology for him to be able to do what he's got in his mind to do, right? Like, this is amazing. Like, most of us, like, we say, okay, I want to do something. I want to do A. Well, I can only do it if the technology exists to do it. Like, I can only use the things around me that I've got. It's like build a better mousetrap or whatever. But Elon Musk is like, I want to get to Mars, and I want to do it in a hurry, and I want to do it with people, not robots. And so, like, the technology didn't even exist, the fuel didn't exist, all these things, and he's creating, like, he's putting all of his effort into new technologies that are going to help him get to that end of, like, we want to establish and habitate Mars and beyond. Like, his goal is beyond that. So I'm impressed with him as an individual for having the vision to, like, and the drive to kind of carry out his vision, even though it looks a little crazy sometimes.
He's an amazing mind for sure. I mean, like you said, he's got this goal and he's not just utilizing the resources he has. He's coming up with ways to advance that goal. So, and like you said, it may be a little out there and wild, but he's doing things that people have never done before.
Right. And I'm guessing like every genius mind that has come up with something new, they look a little crazy.
Yeah.
Would that be true?
Well, yeah, because we get so complacent and something new comes along and you're like, no.
Now,
never.
Caleb, you're a tech guy.
Yeah.
I am.
Thoughts
Yes.
on Elon Musk?
He's obviously next level, right?
He's
Like,
next level.
Yeah.
He's
for
next
sure.
level. And it's not just like he's just recently become next level. He's kind of always been that. If you go all the way back to X.com, which is kind of the early days of PayPal, which is the early days.
Yeah.
Of, you know.
I mean, that's how he originally got rich, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So-
And there was one before that. Too,
now he's in
so-
cryptocurrency, and every time he
Yeah, did you
tweets,
see-
like it shoots
Yeah,
up.
so they're taking. He just announced yesterday that Tesla is now taking Dogecoin as like a currency, and it went up 20%. And
I didn't
bet
even
you
mention
today,
Tesla. Like,
No,
No.
that's the little one.
That's
Yeah.
It just so
little guy.
happens to be where all the money's at.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, like, I bet you it'll plummet again today, but I mean, that's just what cryptocurrency does. But it's ridiculous. Like, the way he thinks about it gets him into a lot of trouble, like with the general public, because they're like, how dare you try to be something that we aren't
They don't have a
already?
category for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's a little weird, and it says a lot about like our culture just in general, and I really like that. So that's why I really like him, is that he seems to be kind of this counterculture type individual.
And
in a
every
way
time
that
somebody
people
thinks he's
enjoy.
going one way, man, he turns the corner and he's like, you thought, but you don't even know.
Yeah,
No. My favorite story about Elon Musk this year was he went to the UN and said, if you can tell me a way to solve world hunger, I'll fund it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the kind of person he is.
Yeah, and to my knowledge, this is not, a plan has not come through, but
no, that was a little bit of a political thing too, right?
Yeah.
Because he was getting a lot of heat from one side of the politic world, saying like, you have enough money to solve all the problems of the earth. How dare you not?
Tell me
yeah.
how.
And
I'm trying.
he said, okay, bet. Like,
he's like,
let's
yeah,
do this.
let's do
He's,
it.
he's working on
And
all
nothing.
the alternative fuel things, which let me just say, we're still worlds away from a decent alternative fuel. I think he'll be one of the leaders in developing whatever comes out that's useful beyond fossil fuels, like your normal gasoline, things like that, oil. Whatever. I mean, and he's doing a lot with solar power. He's doing a lot with electrical engines, things like that, through Tesla. And you've got, I think honestly, he's using that as sort of a little playground and a money infusion for like his bigger things, like creating new rocket fuels and things like that. Really, he's worried about, like Caleb said, next level stuff.
Yeah, that's obviously his passion, right? His passion is always like, he's been very open, saying we're going to take what we have here and use that to fuel going to Mars, and that's
Yeah.
always the end game. He's like, the Earth is finite in its existence, and we only have so many resources. And he's right, even from the Christian worldview, right? Ultimately, we know how that all things.
But going to
Yeah.
Mars isn't going to solve that problem.
No.
yeah, going to Mars isn't it? But that's kind of his thing. He wants to do so. Hey,
He does,
power
now,
to
he
him.
does. Now, I will say the funniest thing in the world was when Tesla revealed their truck.
Oh, yeah.
The bomb-proof, like
Yeah.
bulletproof truck that was like, this thing's gonna get you there. And then he's like, watch this, and he has that like steel ball, and he's like, the shatterproof windows, and he throws it and like
Yeah.
just shatters that window.
It's like a little tiny throw too. Just
Just like,
I mean, yeah, he just kind of like does one of these little bloops.
that one,
And
it was after he hit it with the sledgehammer on the door right prior.
yeah, he hits the door with a sledgehammer, and
Yeah.
he's like, look at this thing.
and it like fractured the glass.
Now, this
in the
wasn't
door.
Elon Musk, right? This was his like presenter guy that he
Yeah.
had up there. But then Elon Musk comes up there and he's like, well, that sucked.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and, you know, call it what it is.
The Cybertruck changed quite a bit. There was a guy who just this last week, he flew a drone over their factory over in California, and they have a little test track. So they got like
I feel like
footage
that's
of it.
illegal.
And well, it technically is, but they're not doing anything about it. So
Yeah.
he's just like, hey, this is my 7th time doing it. I'm going to do it again. So
Yeah.
I think nobody really knows who the dude is. It could very well be like a Tesla employee just leaking certain stuff.
Yeah.
But like,
it's probably
I always
Elon
wonder-
Musk.
I always wonder how
Like,
much of that is
it's
on
probably
purpose.
him just drumming it up. Like, oh, secret footage.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wonder
Yeah.
how much of that is on, like, every time there's going to be a new Apple product, like some little smidgen of something gets leaked. Like, you're telling me in all, like, if Marvel can put out a movie and nobody talks about it beforehand, like Spider-Man No Way Home is going out. This could be a slice in and of itself. Had the premiere. We know the old two Spider-Men are Spider-Men. Yeah, Spider-Men are going to be in it. Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire. They're going to be in it. However, that's been so secretive that even though people know it, they don't know it. You know, and so if Marvel can keep that kind of secret, you're telling me Apple or Tesla, they can't keep their little secrets? Nah, it's got to be a little bit on purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
You got to keep people engaged. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
you know, you got to give them a little bit of something to kind of keep them reeled in.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Time Person of the Year, Elon Musk. And the big thing this last week he was complaining about was he can't figure out how to get rid of the windshield wiper on the Cybertruck. Like he's
get rid of it.
yeah, he doesn't like it from
what?
a design perspective. So he's like, I want
That's
to use
where,
all
that's
use
where
air
the genius
and
gets a
heats
little
and-
bit gets a little bit confused with
Yeah.
the practical. You
Yeah,
know?
he's like, man, I just don't like it.
We can't make it stop raining. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
crazy like a fox, though.
crazy. What does the fox say? Oh no, let's not go there.
No.
Circa
Hold
2002. So I love the fact that he's the person of the year. Now, when that came out, Twitter exploded like this person should be person of the year. This person should be somebody with social justice. But I'm saying Elon Musk, even quietly though, is on the leading edge of social justice work too. I mean, like what Caleb just brought us, like, you know, going to the UN and saying, hey, if you can figure out a good solution to world hunger, I'll fund it. And so I love that. And so, you know, it'll be somebody different next year and probably somebody, I don't know, it'd probably be President Biden or something like that. But you gotta take the time person. The time person of the year does not always equal the moral or ethical standard of our day, right? They've just
Correct.
done something huge. Like I think at one point Adolf Hitler was the time person of the year. Was he not?
have
Google that
no
because
idea.
I may
We're
be
gonna find that.
misspeaking, but I think that's the truth.
It's like who made the most waves that year?
But Jesus has also been the time
Yeah.
person of the year. So take that with a grain of salt until Caleb Googles it and figures it out for sure.
Because I would love to see Elon Musk like come out for Jesus.
I would
like
can you imagine?
what?
There wouldn't be any more churches shutting their doors. Like
No.
he'd be like, "Oh, you need a cash infusion? Boom."
Yeah.
You know, whatever. I don't know. Maybe all the pastors would drive brand new Teslas. I don't know what would happen if
all the pastors in all the world.
I will say,
1938, Adolf Hitler, Time Person of the Year.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Stalin the year after.
1938.
Yep,
So
1938.
before things went bad.
before
Then
it-
39 was Stalin, and after that is Winston Churchill. So
Oh.
took a swing the other direction.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh wow.
Stalin
So
was it again. in
that's what I'm
42.
saying. Take the time person of the year with a grain of salt. They're not the standard to live by. They have reasons, but so that's I guess that's my slice. Watch Elon Musk. Watch what he does. Watch him get us tomorrow. I can't wait for us to be able to say like not interstellar, that's between stars, but interplanetary travel is a thing like you can do.
you can just do it.
Like all the movies that I loved growing up, they're like becoming real life. And I'm thankful for Elon Musk for making those little fantasies kind of a reality. Or at least we're starting to see that. So let's get to our, what we so lovingly call meat and potatoes.
The meat.
Let's get
We
to the
got to
real
come up with
deal.
a better name, but we'll get there.
I agree.
Yeah, comment with a better name for the
Proteins and starches.
proteins and starch. hashtag gains.
Gains, baby. All right.
Because this is something that also happened this week. Oh no.
Yeah,
I
this
knocked my
week.
page off.
I know Caleb's probably really on top of this one. This week,
He's even more excited about this than he was Brittany last week.
Miss Universe.
Oh, here we go.
Miss Universe 2021.
Stay with
All
us,
right.
Caleb. Stay with us.
I'm
All
here.
right.
I'm
So
here for
Time Magazine's throwing out their Person of the Year. Brittany's free. And,
Brittany's free.
And Miss Universe names their pageant winner 2021.
Correct.
And so I wanted to talk about, I thought this was an awesome topic. So go ahead and give us the rundown of Miss Universe.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. But just, all right. So her name is Hernaz Sandhu. Is that right? Am I saying that right? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Miss India.
Yes,
is what
she's Miss India.
What she's normally known as. Can you tell me, all right, so I'm not a Miss Universe.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm not a fan, right? great, for her. But at the same time, and I did research when we said this is going to be our topic. I went through and I watched some of her Nas. Her Nas is footage. But just give me a rundown on like Miss Universe in general.
So I had to look it up too. Like when we were talking about
you're not a pageant queen.
I'm not a pageant queen. Like they're entertaining to some degree.
Yeah.
Like I have friends who do pageants, and we should have had some guests.
We could have.
And maybe we will if this comes back around. But I did go onto the Miss Universe website because I was like, how do you become Miss Universe? And so there were 69 delegates is what they call them.
And this is different than like what happens after Miss like, all right, so this is Miss USA, I think, can become Miss Universe.
Yes.
But Miss America is not in that category.
It's like different channels that you get places.
Yes. Now, is this one Donald Trump's baby?
I think that's Miss America.
Or is that Miss? Okay. All right. Okay. Now, all right. I'm focused in now.
Yeah.
I had those questions.
So you apply and you have to compete at your state level, country level before you go to Miss Universe.
All right. So you'd have to be Miss Alabama.
Yes.
In our state.
In our
Miss
state.
Alabama.
Yep. You'd have to be Miss Alabama, and then you'd have to go to. I'll make sure it's Miss USA, but because I don't think it's Miss America.
You'd be Miss Alabama USA, I think.
Yes, because they're different. Like Miss Alabama goes to Miss America, Miss Alabama USA goes to Miss USA.
I do like adding that USA on the end. That's very patriotic.
It is. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
And so you have to advance through that, and then you apply. So if you take home the state crown, not only will you have a full year of philanthropic and professional opportunities, but you will also be one of the 51 states competing on a televised stage.
Right.
So,
and that's where we end up
with Miss USA. So then you have to like go through all these application channels. You have to be single between the age of 18 and 28. You can compete in your state more than once, but you can only compete Miss USA and Miss Universe once. Okay. So like the 68 people who did not win this year,
my dream of winning it
that
again
was their shot.
Over.
Like they can't do it again. And they want them very focused on your aspirations and what are you going to do with your platform? Because that's basically what they're saying is whoever wins this crown, we're giving you a platform to do what you want. Mm-hmm. For the most part. Miss Universe does have their own, I guess programs would be the word that they support. It's a women-run company.
Sometimes they call these things scholarship programs.
Mm-hmm. It does not seem that there's much money changing hands.
It seems like there's a lot of money.
Well,
but
yes.
Probably not to their education.
I mean, some pageants, I'm sure there are.
Right.
But that's like Miss Congeniality. Like, it's a scholarship program.
Right. That's what I'm saying. like that whole movie is a spoof of these things.
Yes. But they have their initiatives where they do cleft lip and palate repairs around the world. Best Buddies, which they partner one-on-one with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And then they do meal delivery for HIV, AIDS, cancer patients. So it seems that they're doing good work. Yeah. But
no, yeah, I mean, I'm for all of those things.
Yeah, like I am pro good works.
I don't want to sound like this is like I'm going to paint this pageant negatively.
No. It's just an interesting channel to get there.
And it used to be like this was a beauty pageant, like the beauty pageant, right? Yeah. So I remember being in junior high and high school and watching the girls do the beauty pageants and stuff like that, and there was very little to it, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought that this was just on a grand scale version of that. Mm-hmm. They have worked really hard to their benefit. Like they've worked really hard to kind of change that over the past, I would say, 5 years or less. Mm-hmm. They've started like communicating things a little differently. Mm-hmm. What was it? It was because there's this issue of body image, and that's really where we want to key in on today. Yes. Because I know being a youth pastor, and working with youth and being a young
Being a
person
woman,
at some
yeah.
point in your life, and so we've been there. We know that body image can be a really, really big trigger for a lot of students for anxiety, depression, self-hate, and all this kind of stuff. And it can lead to a lot of other problems. It can lead to choosing poorly in your relationships with people. We can go anywhere with that. This person, Hernaz Sandhu. If I'm saying that wrong, send me an email and give me the alliteration for it, because I don't know. I tried to find someone who was saying it, but all they ever say in the pageant is Miss India.
Oh.
Miss India, Miss India. And I'm like, I need to know her name.
Yeah,
I want to know her
name.
And
which maybe that's an underlying thing to discuss.
maybe that's a problem too.
You're just labeled.
I mean, you're dehumanizing the person.
Well, like when Steve Harvey announced the wrong winner.
Yeah, he's the announcer of this one. He did it again.
It's like,
hey, you do that. You make that big of a blunder and you don't get fired. Like, there's host after host after host for these
like,
things.
how many people could they have brought in? But it's like, pay enough attention to these women to call them by the right name. Like, come on.
At least the right country.
Or the right country. Yeah, you don't even have to use their name.
Right. And, he blames somebody else right after. He's like, they gave me the wrong card.
Yeah,
or,
it's all. Which, if they gave him the wrong card, I'm sure they don't go, hey, Steve, Miss India's going to win.
Or actually, I think what it was like there's two things written on the card. And the winner was supposed to be in bold or something. And the runner-up's name was in bold. Something happened. And he was like, oh, oops, read that wrong. Anyway, hold it. We remember that deal.
Yeah,
Caleb, you remember that?
Definitely.
Yeah. How traumatizing was that for that woman, though? Like, to think you
Both of
won for both of them.
Yeah, because she can't even celebrate the victory.
Yeah, because she's like,
oh, this is so awkward.
oh,
I'm really
it's
glad
so bad.
Plus, she just thought she lost. So,
Yeah.
I mean, she's got yeah.
You're
just
processing
weird.
that, and
You
you're
talk
like,
about an emotional roller coaster all of a sudden. Like, you didn't think you were going to be riding
Steve's
on that
fearing
day.
for his life. Like, I got to get out of here.
yeah.
This is so bad. He handled it well, though.
I guess.
Addressing it right then and there. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
So, Linda, did you watch any of Miss India at all? Okay, so I did. I went on a deep dive here with Miss India. So one of the things, and I think this is a jumping off point for what we want to talk about, because you were with me when I found this. I look up, all right, so here's what's happening. Miss Universe 2021, Miss India. And then like an article related to that topic popped up from USA Today that was about social media, TikTok trends, and body image. And we're going to get into that. But what Miss India did, they have a question. I don't even know what her question was. All I heard was her answer to whatever question. I think it was just basically where they get to talk about their platform. And she basically said, hey, you need to celebrate your uniqueness, which is, something you would expect.
Yeah.
Celebrate your uniqueness. But she said, get over comparing yourself to others and focus on the bigger problems of the world.
Look.
So I was like, I like that answer.
I
like
kinda
it.
like
It's a
that.
little ironic after
Yeah.
you come from, a year or more of just comparing yourself to other people.
That's-
Yeah,
and you
like
get to the
just
end as
straight
the best. You're
competing.
like,
You're
don't
using-
even try.
You're using
like,
the comparison platform
yeah.
to say, don't compare yourself to people.
Yeah. The irony is super thick there. But,
Yeah.
But I will say, all right, so as far as body image is concerned, like you told me this, they don't have to wear, like it used to be like, be super fit in your bikini and prance around, and then you do a dress and all that kind of stuff. But you said it's not like that anymore.
No, that's what I was reading, that they have, it's a bikini or a swimsuit / athletic wear. So they,
Are we talking like the leotard of the 80s?
I'm thinking, in my mind, I'm picturing like a leggings set. Like,
Let's get physical.
yes.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Is that what we're
If that's
talking?
what you want to think, that's what we'll
Okay.
go with. Until somebody tells us otherwise, that's what we'll go with.
All right.
But yeah, they are allowing, which is kind of strange to say, allow you to cover your body a little bit more.
Yeah. What's that like?
Like-
if you really want to cover up, we'll allow it.
Because from the website, it said their focus is a commitment to a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
And so I guess that translates into physical fitness.
I would like to know, okay, so physical fitness is usually a thing. So I don't know if you're familiar with like Junior Miss. Like now it's called Distinguished Young Women. It's a program. Kinsley won it way back in the day when it was still called Junior Miss. And then they thought that had negative connotations, the name Junior Miss, and they changed it to Distinguished Young Women, which is a whole mouthful to say. It's not a beauty pageant at all, but there's like those aspects to it. But they have a physical fitness thing, and it's like the girls go out there and like they have to do a fitness routine during the thing. Like it's like the whole group, and the judges are, they're picking out like the best, most fit ones from the group. And so anyway, that's
like
what
dance?
I think of when you're looking for someone's fitness. Like they're having to do push-ups and like, not necessarily sit-ups. They'll do crunches. They'll do, whatever, jumping jacks, and they'll do different stretches and all this kind of stuff. And it's all a music, like choreographed routine, right? But they're supposed to, like who can actually do a real push-up out of all these girls and that kind of thing. So that's when my mind says, if I'm wondering how fit you are, that's kind of what I wanted to, what I think of as seeing, not just you prance your body out onto, because there, honestly, you can fake fitness a lot. There are a lot of what you call, what did they call it? Skinny fat people.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so skinny fat people, where they may be skinny, but there is no fitness about them. I had a roommate in college like that. So.
But yeah, like fitness is what's your
You
body.
were celebrating some PRs this week.
I
by the
was
way.
like, and I am by no means getting up on a swimsuit anywhere, but and that's what, like, people that I work out with, we may not be this body type that they want them to have, but we can move some weight in the gym.
I'm telling you,
Like,
you would have like one of these girls on each side of your barbell, and like
I could
just pick them up.
I could pick
you know
them
what
up,
I mean?
but yeah, and like I follow. It's actually a bodybuilding page. It's like people who are competing in bodybuilding,
Yeah.
and these people, like, they work hard. Like, they work very hard.
Yeah.
And it's very taxing on their bodies. And they talk about like the toll that it takes on your body. And yeah, you have to work to put on the muscle, and that's a little bit different. And there's different categories of bodybuilding. So they go from like smaller to bigger, more muscular. But then
It's
again,
scientific too.
yeah, like down to like their week of prep. I see people that, and it's,
But even our high schoolers, like,
Yeah.
so we're in student ministry, and we have wrestlers in our group, and like when it comes time, like they're gonna like bulk in this season. Then it's gonna be getting close to like game time, and they're gonna quit eating and drinking for a while to make weight.
like no water, no salt, no.
Then they're gonna
no
hit,
happiness.
Then they're
like,
gonna hit
all of it.
weigh-in day, and after they weigh in, they're gonna like guzzle gallons of water and eat like 10 sandwiches.
Yeah. I joked a few years ago, my brother competed in a bodybuilding competition, and I was pregnant at the time. So I was like, I'm going to sit in the parking lot with pizzas and candy bars, and I'm just going to make a mint sitting
Yeah.
in the parking lot selling stuff when competitors come out.
Yeah. Again, though, same thing as the skinny fat situation. There's these, a lot of these bodybuilders, like the hardcore, like the giant guys, right? Those guys are they're building their body so specifically to look as big and as muscular as they can and as like ripped as they can, but their cardio level may be terrible.
Yeah.
They couldn't run from here to the door over there, which is, for those of you who don't know where the door over there is, it's about 10 feet.
It's not far.
So, with all that being said, like, I think there's two ends of the spectrum on body image, and it's like one goes to like body positivity, which I think can like lead to an unhealthy lifestyle of like, just let yourself go. Nobody should worry about, like, you just love you. And then there's like the other end. It's like so opposite of that. It's like, I've got to look as good as I can and be as fit as I can, almost to an unhealthy level there. So the USA Today article, and Caleb, I think you'd be interested in this. It's on social media and TikTok, especially TikToks, because that's the most trending social media out there right now. Trends that insist on changing and improving our bodies. And I didn't bring the article in. It's sitting on my desk right now. But listen, there are compiled of the top 3 beautification trends on TikTok. 2 billion views on these three tags alone. First tag is...
I know what they are. Let's see if Caleb can guess.
Caleb, can you guess the top 3 beauty tags on TikTok?
I Googled it here, and I'm looking at glute pump as number 1.
Glute pumping is number 1.
Lip plumping?
Lip plumping.
Am I right on that?
Lip plumping.
Plumping.
All right, glute pumping, lip plumping.
That's all I got. What's the third one?
All right, the third one is skin talk, I think is the hashtag for it.
Skin talk.
Skin talk? Like,
yeah, so
I
it's
get
like,
it, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I get it.
That kind of thing.
Which, guess who this mainly markets towards?
Who?
Very dramatic. It would be the younger
Young
women.
Women, of course. So, all right, are you familiar with these hashtags? Or these like trends? Maybe not the hashtag itself.
Yes.
All right. Caleb, is this a shock to you right now?
Is a shock to me.
Listen,
I'm
got the
learning
article
about this
pulled
for
up,
the first
don't you?
time. I'm just reading. I probably can't show this one.
Dude, no, don't show it. Don't show it.
No, I'm not going to.
Listen, but there are some
man, it's a
paragraphs
shock.
in that article that blew me away. Just sociologists studying this from a secular point of view, not even from a Christian worldview, like, and just the harm that it's doing and that social media is doing to young women especially, but young men get roped into this too. So let me ask this. All right. So, all right. So there's this ideal. Okay. There's
Can't wait to see where
there's
this
so
is
much.
going.
All right. So from Gen X to Gen Z, like the ideal human look, the attractiveness of a person has changed dramatically. So in the 90s, all right, you know what the attractiveness was for young women especially?
Yeah.
It was just thin.
Thin. Like we talked about this.
Yes.
It was like very, and I think that kind of came out of the 70s and 80s as well.
Yeah.
And carried into the 90s when we were coming up.
Yeah.
It was thin. Like
In early 2000s.
Yeah.
So early 2000s didn't know what it was. So
Yeah.
these like brand new millennials and stuff like that, they're like, I don't really know what to
But
do.
yeah, I mean, it was like hip bones, collarbones, like
Right.
as bony and as scrawny as you can get yourself.
Yeah, and all the clothing to show that off.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what, Kinsley, my wife, was like, oh, she was so worried about all these clothing trends coming back because she was like, those needed to stay in the ground.
It was so bad.
And she was talking about this very thing. She's like, nobody should look like that and try to show that off. So then I'll flash forward to now. You've got, according to the article, and why glute pumping and lip plumping and all that is popular. All right, so you want like the attractive female body, especially, is like, thin waist, large bum. All right, thick is the word.
Thick.
That's the thick.
Yeah.
So,
I said I for one am thankful for because genetically that's just how I'm built.
That's who I was born for this millennium.
Like I was never wafy, so I'm all behind this in a healthy way.
In a healthy way. Just in the that's how I am. Embrace it.
Because in the when I was a teenager,
Miss India would say, "Embrace your uniqueness."
I'm embracing my uniqueness. The older I get, the more there's truth to that. We can get there, but like if you had a big bum when we were in high school, you would
in my
get
house we say hiney.
we say booty, but you would get made fun of mercilessly.
Yeah.
Because your low-rise jeans didn't fit right.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. And I don't know. I'm not real sure what the meaning of a thigh gap is. I'm just assuming your
thighs don't touch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jinx, you owe me another Zoa. But it's like half thick thighs, but don't let them touch. I don't even know how that works.
But they can't touch.
Walk like you've been riding on a horse for a while. I don't really know.
It's unrealistic beauty standards is what it is.
That's what the whole article is about, though. This is unrealistic. And the fact that social media is saying, okay, as soon as you meet that standard, it's time to change it.
Yeah. Because it's a trend.
It's a trend, and that trend changes faster because media is changing faster. And where are we going wrong? I just want to ask this question. Where are we going wrong? Not just us, but like as a culture, as a society. What in the world?
That people just can't be people.
You know,
But that's a great question.
I just like, why is it like our minds change on what's attractive so fast? Or, you know, and you know, the article itself was saying this is a celebrity driven thing because they're the ones with the money and the resources to change on that. Because a lot of times we look at this as like, we got to put in work to look this way. All right. You want thin waist or whatever, you got to work for it. Whatever else you got to do. You got to do some squats. I don't, you know.
Not for your waist.
Not for your waist. That's the glute pumping we're talking. But these hashtags and these trends a lot of times lend itself to just get plastic surgery for these things. The lip. Do you remember the lip thing, like where people were sucking on the cups?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Who was it that made that popular? Like Kylie Jenner.
Kylie
or something
Jenner.
Like that? But it's like she's had plastic surgery for this. And then she was like, everybody just go suck on a jar or something and like leave it there for like 15 minutes. And like people were like blowing the capillaries out in their lips. And, you know,
It's just bad.
it's like that that new massage therapy cupping. Have you seen that?
Oh, that looks awful.
I mean, you walk up on somebody who's like been through a cupping session. You're like, who hurt you?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it looks like you've just been pelted with cannonballs
Yeah,
all over your body.
It's like, it reminds me of like Paul when he got like stoned outside the city. And you know,
Did we miss the translation? Is that what he was doing?
that's what
He
he
was
was doing.
That's what
cupping.
doing.
And so I'm just thinking like that does not look like it helps anything. But I don't know. I've never done cupping. I've never even had a massage.
Oh, you should.
Like I've never. Caleb, you ever had a massage?
No massage. I've been saying for a decade. I think it's a great idea, and I need one. But no, I went to the chiropractor.
You went to the
like-
chiropractor,
Yeah,
yeah.
like 3 weeks ago. And that is, let me tell you, that's not a massage at all. He has,
I've
like,
never
this
been
machine.
to a chiropractor either.
Man, it'll. I mean, it's good, but they'll mess you up.
I will say
In a
the
good
funniest video I've seen in a while is they took Shaq to a chiropractor, and that chiropractor had to like he had to throw all his weight on Shaq
bet
to
he
pop
did.
anything. Like Shaq was like 3 times his size, and he's laying on a table that's 2 sizes too small, and he like takes Shaq and like turns his leg over, and then like he does like a power like elbow drop, and
Look, he's got the video.
oh, he's got it. You probably don't play this with sound. Probably don't want to do that.
There's no sound. Oh, there.
Oh, he's about to fall off the table.
Like Shaq is so like you don't even understand how big of a man Shaq is.
Yeah.
And so that's a funny video if you stumble across it on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or whatever. But here's the deal. Let's talk about scripture real quick.
Let's do it.
1 Corinthians chapter 6, 19. Your body is a temple, and that whole conversation. Now, specifically, as a pastor, I have to say this. This is my boilerplate, right? The context of this is talking about sexual immorality. Don't don't allow promiscuity into where the Lord exists, right? That's what, like back in the day, pagan temple worship had a lot of sexual things about it. And what Paul is trying to say is your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. There is no sleeping around should be going on with your body. Like, don't be using your body for that kind of stuff. But you take this and you continue to generalize it in terms of like, well, if that's true that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, there's more to that than just not like there's the negative of like there's the proscription, which is do not do these things, and then there's a prescription part of scripture, which is here's what I recommend you do. So don't treat your body in these negative ways and put your body through these things, which are obviously not good for your body, but also not good for your spiritual walk with the Lord and his holy standard for you. Prescriptive, treat your body well. You know, that I think would go into eating, exercising, all of these things. And the Greek time period, like being aesthetically good looking was a high standard, right? Like you look at, you've never seen an obese like statue of Hercules. Like, no. I mean, I recently found out though, this is just an aside, that in Norse mythology, right, we have this picture of Thor in our head that's like the Chris Hemsworth Thor. Thor in real Norse mythology was this giant fat dude, and he could eat and he could drink and he could fight. That's who Thor was. It's actually more like the Thor we get in Endgame. I don't know if you've seen Avengers Endgame. Oh, golly. You've got to watch that just for Chris Hemsworth in a fat suit.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. All right. He's let himself go a little. And so you've got fat suit Thor. Kayla's pulling it up. But here's the deal. We were created to glorify God. That's with our mouths, lip service to God, but also with our bodies. And I think this just lends to a conversation of take care of what the Lord has given you in this body. Like, don't. We could go even as far as like drugs and vaping and things like that for our students. That this is real stuff. Like that stuff is harmful to your body. Don't put those things in. That's what 1 Corinthians leads us to, and 1 Corinthians 6:19 is not the only place in Scripture that it talks about taking care of yourself, but it's one of the most well-known ones. So that's why I picked it.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about being a good steward of other things, and I mean, I think there is something spiritual about taking care of yourself and lending to this, and like you said, the vaping, the smoking, all of that. Yeah. My husband and I were having a conversation because they were talking on the news about New York City has instituted these safe injection sites where people can bring their drugs and they provide them clean needles and a clean space to do it. And so that kind of lends itself to the conversation of legalizing stuff. But it's like the bottom line, this stuff is harmful.
Yeah.
Like it's harmful to people. And
I can, that kind of, honestly, sometimes I call them ministries. That kind of ministry has been done by churches for a long time. Clean needle ministry in these really, really degraded places, urban places where HIV and AIDS is rampant, that kind of thing. Like, I think the thought process is let's get them to quit killing themselves with disease and quit the spread of disease. And maybe we can start working them back. Yeah.
Which, and it'll be interesting.
It's like there's so many problems.
Yeah.
What's the first one you tackle?
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see like how this helps the spread of disease. Yeah. And they said then there's not needles on playgrounds and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, but then at the heart, are you taking care of these people? Are we taking care of people? And to some degree we are, but. I mean,
yeah, it's all fun and games till you find a needle on the playground.
Yeah.
And then it's a bad situation. So I like what Miss India had to say of like, quit comparing yourself. Because I think the comparison trap is huge in this generation of social media has exasperated it and exaggerated it so much. And it's like just... For instance, like you've got teenagers that even down to the way their like feed looks when you bring up their social media page, it's like they want it in a certain hue and color. Like every picture has to be of a certain like hue or otherwise it's like not cool.
Oh, it's definitely a thing. Yeah, like yep.
I found out about this not long ago and I was like, this is... Well, I want to be careful with what I say, but
extra is the word you're looking for. Extra.
That's one word.
This is extra.
That's one word for it. But again, there's even a push for a trend of like the no makeup, like that kind of thing. And this article brings out the point that it's like even those Instagram influencers and TikTok influencers and all that are like, look at me, I'm no makeup day or whatever. And it's like, this is just me. Like, there's no makeup. You probably know this.
I don't know about it. Look, a no makeup day is a no makeup day.
Straight up. Yeah. Well, there's like, these influencers will put on, well, for one, it pointed out the fact that like these celebrities have had so much work done, and they've had so much invested into their look that even with no makeup, they still look pretty good because of all the money they've invested in how they look.
Yeah. I mean, if I could spend thousands and thousands on a skincare regimen,
That's what I'm saying.
I bet my face would look all right too.
Yeah, I mean, or if a skincare regimen came to you and said, if you'll just put this on your social media, we'll give you all that you want for free. That's how you become an influencer, right? And so you've got, but they'll either, it's like you compare yourself to that, oh man, look how good they look with no makeup. What about me? And like, I looked like a deranged coyote with no makeup. And or you've got, they actually have makeup on, but it's so subtle. That's what I mean by the no makeup that the article talked about. I didn't know this was, there's types of makeup that is so subtle. It still improves your skin tone and all this, but it's like no makeup.
It's the natural look.
The natural look. And so I'm just saying, I thought the article was excellent in that it's like you're comparing yourself to a lie. And that's what I've preached that a lot. I don't know what it's going to take what's it going to take to change this, the way we do beauty?
I don't know. It's going to take this comparison is you're going to have to stop, but it's the industry. A whole industry is going to go away.
Yeah.
Which it's not going to go away.
Do you think the best thing would be like the recommendation for somebody struggle? What would you recommend to a young lady struggling with a healthy like confidence? Like they have no self-confidence, they have body image issues. What would you say to that person?
You have to, and I was watching a video about this yesterday, talking about it's like the pro-diet culture and the anti-diet culture. It's like, well, look at yourself and your life and your health, like beyond appearance. Look at your blood pressure and your labs and all that. It's like, if that is in check, live your life, like go on. But if there's something that's impacting your health or you feel like you want to change something, don't be ashamed to want to work on that.
Right.
But, and this, we talked about, you posted something the other day about finding from within yourself, which I think
I forgot about that.
So there is something to this, and I'll let you talk about it. There is something with building that confidence within yourself, but it can go too far into an idolatry, because ultimately we're made in the image of God, our creator. And then what you had shared with me, what you talked about.
So what you're talking about is Instagram had run this ad, and I think it's still going, because as soon as we talked about it, I saw another one for it. But it was promoting Reels.
Because it's listening.
It was just a big push for Reels, and I guess they're just trying to put a dent in TikTok's user interface. But so there was this girl, and she had all this like crazy painted makeup stuff on. And it was like, the caption was something to the effect of, create yourself in your own image, or whatever it was. And it was like promoting, like, you do whatever you want to on Reels, and like remake yourself however you see yourself from the inside or whatever. And I was just thinking, that's a very dangerous thing to try to promote. I see what they're saying. It's almost like what Miss India said, you're unique, celebrate your uniqueness. Don't compare yourself to anybody. But in the same terms, it's like you're looking for your sense of purpose and who you are in an empty vessel, right? We, like you just said, without God, we don't know who we are. We're purposeless, we're hopeless. And so I think that's the key point, and I think that's where Christianity is banging up against secular culture, is this sense of identity and purpose. Because that's what I think all of this boils down to, is like, if your identity is seated in Christ, who loves you no matter what you look like, he wants you to be healthy, and he wants you to feel good and have self-confidence, but ultimately our confidence is in Christ. The Bible says that 11,000 times. Like your confidence is in Him and who He made you to be as a son and daughter of the Most High. And so in all of that, that rubbed me the wrong way when it's like, look in yourself and find and just create yourself in your own image. Just like, no, find yourself in the image you were already created in, God's image, and all of that looks like. And so,
but you can take inventory in what makes you unique and
Absolutely.
special. Take inventory in that, but knowing this is how God created me.
yeah,
Which is not I was born this way conversation.
Right.
That's a whole nother thing. But like, take confidence in that. And that's what we talked about doing this at the beginning of the podcast when we started doing this. But like, if you could go back and tell young Joseph something, and I think about that, what would I tell young Linda who struggled with body image and things like that? And it's that, and the older I get, the more confident in myself and in my creator that I am.
Yeah.
It's like, look at
some of it comes with age, for sure.
Some of it does come with age, yeah. And that's just something we can tell our students, and they're like, okay, grandma. Like,
Right.
but it's like, with age, comes the understanding.
Yeah.
That there are bigger things in this world.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly right. And comparing, like, it takes a long time for you to understand that the person you're trying to compare yourself to, like, they're in a different situation, they're in a different world than you are. It's not the same, and God made it that way for purpose. But a lot of times we lose that sense of purpose because we're not looking for God's purpose; we're looking for our own identity. So, I think we're going to leave it at that. We'll probably bring this back around at some point. This is a topic that comes up tons with our students, and we can go a lot of different ways. We mentioned a lot of things that we didn't even go into, but can we get one more look at Sadie the puppy?
We can. Let me get
just one more for the close of this podcast.
I don't want all the other dogs out there comparing themselves.
Listen, hey, be looking on social media for us to ask you to share photos of your own puppy. This is Sadie, the German Shepherd.
Labrador Retriever.
These ears are killing me.
The ears are my favorite.
Listen, hey, if you want more puppy action, listen to the podcast, like it, rate it, share it. We cannot wait to see what God does with this thing. This is just our free resource for anybody who wants to listen. Linda, you want to say any goodbyes?
I don't think so. Just, this is fun. I'm having a great time.
We have a great time.
Yeah, we're about to take a break for Christmas.
Yes, and we're going to try to get at least one during the Christmas break. We'll try to record at least one of these, but it may be a couple of weeks of downtime. But we're going to come back strong in the new year. We might have a whole new setup by then. I don't know. Caleb's got some tricks up his sleeve, I think. So
it's going to be good.
I mean, he's the master brain of this whole thing. Anyway, so we're thankful for you listeners and watchers and viewers and everything. So please, if you wanted to keep going, you gotta watch, you gotta listen, you gotta like it, you gotta share it. But figuring it out, we're figuring out how to live in this messed up world as Christians. And so we'll see you later.